Hello?
Hey Angie, let's dive right into your performance review.
Okay.
This cycle you were rated issues.
Hello. Welcome back to Angie's channel. Well, we just said goodbye to 2022, and we all know that typically the year end is performance review season. I'm sure many of you did really well, worked really hard, and received a really good performance review. But I also wouldn't be surprised if a portion of you guys received some not so good news. You know how I know? Because I had experienced the same thing a couple years before, and I knew exactly what it feels like. Let's dial the time back to 2017. At that time, I was a consultant with McKinsey. I had been with the firm for probably about a bit over a year at that point. I remember I was just packing up, getting ready for my year-end family holiday when I received the call from a reviewer saying that I have received the rating issues. So here's a quick guide to the McKinsey old review system if you're not familiar. I think they've changed it, but I mean, more or less, they're all very similar. So with the McKinsey review system, we have essentially 5 different buckets, going from distinctive, which means you have done extremely well and one of the rare unicorns, and to very strong, which means you also have, the company has also recognized you as a very good consultant, to strong, which probably means that you're, above average, to then issues, which means you've got some serious issues, and they would typically put you on a performance improvement plan. And if you follow the plan, you can probably make your way out to the strong, very strong, distinctive category. However, if you're not careful, then you can be on the way out to the last category, which is CTL, counsel to leave. That's essentially saying that you're fired, just a very diplomatic way of saying it. So, how did I feel when I received the phone call? I was shocked, I was sad, I was disappointed. Was that the end of my McKinsey career? Is that why I left? No. So not only was I able to turn it around in the next spring, but I did so well that I received opportunity to work internationally. I was able to work in Southeast Asia, Australia, China. I was also able to become an actual McKinsey interviewer. So I was traveling around from campus to campus, interviewer potential candidates. And that was extremely fun. So in this video, I want to touch upon a topic that has not been widely discussed or has a lot of transparency around. Not only would I be extremely transparent with you, telling you how exactly did I receive, what was the circumstance, what was the context, I will also want to share some of the tips that have worked well for me, that have helped me turn the situation around, and some of the learnings that I wish I could have done during the performance review cycle. Let's get started. So first of all, what happened? How did I get myself into a bad performance review situation? Well, it was the end of 2017, and typically at McKinsey we get reviewed twice per year. Once in the middle of the year and the other one is at the end of the year. So the end of the year review essentially looks at all your projects that you have done since your previous review, which is around June, July time. So at that point, towards the end of 2017, I was on the 3rd project since my previous review. I gotta be honest, the first one I did pretty well. Second one, I don't think I did so well. The team environment was a bit hostile and I just don't think I performed my best. And the third one was fine again. I had a really good energy with the team and the clients really loved me. So I was essentially more than a bit over halfway through when the whole review process took place. So what is very interesting or unique about the McKinsey review process, which in my hypothesis is probably similar among majority of the consulting companies, is that instead of having a direct manager interview you, because again, when you are in a consulting environment, you jump from project to project, so you don't really have a direct manager all the time. So instead, what they have adopted is a DGL model. DGL stands for Development Group Leader. There are typically associate principals, partners, senior partners, people who are very senior in the company. They're the one who will be, talking to individuals on a regular basis to get the self-evaluation. They'll also then be talking to individual teams, trying to gather all the facts and feedbacks from all the team leaders, and then they'll write a summary. and then go to a review committee representing you in front of the review committee, and in the end, deliver your performance review. So what I've later learned about the McKinsey review process is that, very similar to a lot of the other different review methods, it is subject to its own flaws, and in this case, it is subject to recency bias, which means the projects that are closer to your review cycle typically carries more weight. So in my case, the first project that I did, which was back in July, August time, although I did really well, but it was because it was so many months away from the review cycle, it carried the most weight. And you probably would think, well, in that case, wouldn't your third project carry the most weight? Typically, yes, except in my case, the third project was only halfway through. So the committee didn't think that it was actually, had enough data points to represent me at that point. Then that means, unfortunately, the second project that I have completed, which I wasn't very happy, has become the project that essentially carried the most weight, that essentially defined my performance rating for that end of year review. Well, so with that logic, I'm not surprised at all that I got an issues rating. So how did I feel after I got that phone call? To be honest, it's a very mixed feeling. I was shocked for sure because I thought I did really well my third project and I was able to put the second project completely behind me. I was also very disappointed in myself. I had a lot of doubts by myself. I was extremely scared. I was extremely worried that if that was going to be the end of my consulting career and I was going to be so embarrassed in front of my parents, my colleagues, everyone who would learn how terrible of a consultant that I was. Maybe this is a sign that says I'm a hire mistake and I do not belong here at all, and I'm that imposter that have finally got caught. At the same time, I also felt a hint of anger because yes, I fully recognize that maybe I didn't do so well on the second project, but I also feel like the team environment played a huge role in there. The leadership was not very supportive. It was just such a terrible experience. But the third and the first project, how come the good that I've done on those projects are not able to cover, the maybe inadequacy that I've done on the second one? It just feels like very unjust and unfair. Now what happened, as I mentioned earlier, I came out strong the next spring and I was able to get international opportunities and become an interview. So what are the tactical steps that I did after the review session that helped me to get back on track fast? So first of all, listen to the feedback and follow the process. So at that point, even though I felt a hint of anger, even though I felt like I'd been wronged, it wasn't a just, I also knew that I wasn't perfect. I definitely had a lot to improve, and I also knew that I had very, very little leverage, if any. 0% chance to actually change the system or change the review rating. So what do? You gotta just follow the system. The system has been set in place. So after I received a issues rating, I made a PIP, which is a performance improvement plan with my DGL, and stuck to it. I had regular catch-up calls with him to tell him about my progress. As long as I show them that I'm actually making steps to address those issues, I know that I would be fine. Because again, the goal of the performance review is not to screw you, but to make sure that you recognize how serious the problem is, and then it would act as a warning to make sure that you would take actions right away to get out of it. Second, call up your sponsors for opportunity. To be honest, right after the news of the rating has been delivered, I was on an all-time low. My confidence is taking a blow. I was constantly scared. I don't know what my future would look like. I don't know if any team would ever want to work with me ever again because of the rating. I just didn't know if I was still good enough to stay at the firm. I felt extremely vulnerable. So the only thing that I did is that I know that I have to find a strong and supportive environment for me to go to next, to heal, to get back on my foot, to really come out of this. So I reached out to my sponsors, people who I have worked with, who loved working with me, who trusted me, and who I also trusted for an opportunity to work together. I still remember to this day, I was in a conversation with one of my sponsors. I told him the situation, I told him the rating, and he said, Angie, I don't care what your rating is. I know you as a person, and I know you are freaking awesome. So of course, I would love to have an opportunity to work with you for my next project. So yeah, and then that was it. I was able to very quickly find myself a new home a supportive project, a supportive team environment, and that was the product that got me out of it. Third, retros with my mentor. So as much as I know exactly what to do to get myself out of the situation, I still wish I would, have done something different maybe before the interview that would have prevented the situation altogether. So I called up some of my mentors, people who I trusted, and if you're confused about the definition of a sponsor and a mentor, I can talk about it later video. So I called up my mentor and I walked them through the entire situation. I asked, is there anything that I could have done better? Or is there anything that I could have done differently? First of all, do not hide tough, unpleasant situations. Maybe it's because of my Asian upbringing, maybe because of the fact that I left home and went abroad when I was 15. So all this time, my go-to communication style with my family and people who I love is that I would hide the unpleasant and only tell them the good. And this is exactly what I did this time. I brushed off the unpleasant on my second project with my DGL. I just wanted him to probably hear all the good that I've done. So I didn't really mention any of the hostile environment. I didn't feel like I was being properly supported by my leadership. While hiding the bad might have worked in my personal life, it definitely does not work out in your professional life, because my hypothesis is that, when I hide certain facts, then it means that my DGL is going blind. Don't sugarcoat tough situations. Share them early, so then you essentially will be able to present a full picture from your perspective, which then led to the second thing that I could have done better, which is to share your narrative. Performance review, like a lot of the other stuff I do, is all about storytelling. You have your side of the story, your leadership that you have worked on, feedback is another side of the story. So because I have, sugar-coated my situation, I've hit certain aspect, my story was not as coherent. And so as a result, my DGL only got one side of the story, and that was the side that wasn't favorable to me. So in the future, what I could have done differently is, fully be transparent, share the side of the story, share the reason why, certain things happen, to fully prepare. So again, shape your narrative and share them is extremely important. In the end, the other piece that I also wanted to share, which I've learned through my career, is that so many people get bad performance reviews at least once in their career. I've talked to countless of partners, senior partners, associate principals, and just other people who are outside of the consulting world as well. And so many of them have said, yes, I have received issues rating. That has happened to me. However, it doesn't really change who they are, how capable they are, how smart they are as a person. So this is the message that I want you to remember. Do not let one bad performance review dictate what you are as a person. You're strong, you're smart, it is a learning opportunity, and you will get out of it okay. I hope this video is very helpful. If you like this video, you should check out the other video where I talked about why I eventually decided to leave McKinsey. Until next time, bye!